Today's webinar is for a few different groups. We've got Miva merchants who want to understand exactly how InsureShield works and what that means for their checkout, and UPS partners and accounts who are looking to understand the opportunity for their customers. So whether you're here to learn, evaluate, or just see what it looks like in action, you guys are in the right place. Here's what you're going to walk away with today. You'll have a clear understanding of why carrier liability alone isn't enough to protect your orders, how InsureShield works inside Miva, and exactly how easy it is to turn on. And you'll actually get a live look at the checkout experience and what that looks like for your shoppers. And so you'll have all the information that you may need to get started or bring this to your own customers. So let's take a quick look at the agenda. Here's how today is structured. We have 5 sections. Um, is Mike on the call yet as a panelist? Do we see him, panelist folks?
Not yet. I think he's working on joining.
Okay, cool. So I think first we will dive into the live InsureShield demo so that you can see what that looks like. And then we will cover what carrier liability versus true package protection is, what the difference means for merchants and why it matters, why InsureShield is the solution, and we'll give you a policy overview so you can understand exactly what's covered. And then after that, um, we'll close with the Q&A. So keep those questions coming. With that, let me introduce you to the 2 people that you'll be hearing from today. Mike Sarnecki is the Program Director of Digital Channels and Alliances at UPS Capital. So he's the person that knows InsureShield inside and out and has been instrumental in bringing this partnership to life. And Brennan Heidi is the VP of Payments and Strategic Partnerships at Miva. He is our product expert on Miva and will be showing you what it looks like live. So I think we'll go to Brennan and he can show you what this looks like and how to enable it.
Perfect. Thanks, Hannah. Let me share my screen here, make sure everyone can see it. Let's go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to show you the Miva side of it, and then we'll have Mike come talk about kind of the benefits of InsureShield for both the merchant as well as the customer. But we worked very closely with UPS Capital to get this integrated into Miva. What I hopefully you'll come away with how easy it is to turn this on and set it up. So it's not a huge lift. For new stores, it's just point and click. For existing stores, it's there's one line of template change you have to make, and Miva can make that for you if you want to do it. So let me show you the actual configuration. So this is built into Miva. The one thing I'll tell you, you need to be on 26R101 in order to use this. And so once you're on that, that's the latest version of Miva. You can go to modules, find UPS InsureShield, click install. I already have it installed. And that will take you to this particular screen here. So the really nice part about this is that there's no big configuration, right? It has some information about what InsureShield is, how to use it. The only thing you need to do as a merchant is review the terms and conditions that is required. You come down here, click accept, and you're done, right? That is the only setup you need to do. With this, you put in their shipment origin address, automatically gets copied over, so you can tweak these if you want to. But what this does is, let me show you kind of the customer experience, is if I go to the Miva store, this is just my demo store here, and I add a product to cart and go through checkout, you now have the ability to offer insurance on the order. Actually, let me log in as a customer. We can skip this first. So I'm going to log in as a customer here. Add some to cart and then go through the checkout process. Okay, so when I set up and agreed to terms and conditions and installed the module, this piece gets added here, this order protection piece, right? So this gets added to the checkout process, and it shows you the insurance amount. It is checked by default. If you wanted to have it unchecked by default, there's a setting for that you could turn that on or off. So it's just this checkbox here. You can uncheck that if you want it to be unchecked by default to allow the customer to opt into it versus opt out. It's totally up to you. But when they go through the checkout process, they'll see this, hit continue to payment, and you'll see it gets added to the order over here. If they ever wanted to take it off, they can just click back, uncheck it, and it will take it off the order. So very easy to turn on or off. Let me show you the buying experience. So when someone purchases it, put in a purchase order number here. So I'm going to go ahead and place this order. You'll see that InsureShield insurance is here for $3. That was collected from the customer. If I go back to orders now, we have some configuration that you can see at the per order level. So they there's some fields, custom fields that you can enable at the order batch list to see information about the order, about the InsureShield. So you can see the status, the quote ID, the premium, right? All these fields are available that you could see at the order level. The one thing that is worth noting is that the status of this is unconfirmed. So this doesn't change to confirmed until the order gets marked as shipped in Miva. So that's when the policy is actually active. So you need to make sure that tracking numbers and order statuses are being pushed back up to Miva, whether via ShipStation or you do it manually to the admin. That is the trigger that is required in order for the policy to be active. So if I come in manually do this, I go into this order, I'm going to create a shipment for this particular order, and then I'm just going to manually enter the tracking numbers just so we can see that change. So I've now marked this as shipped. You can see that shipped here. And if I go back, I think this is my test account, so I don't know if it's going to change. But this would change to confirmed, and you'd have that policy actually active there. The other thing that's worth noting is if I go back to the configuration, let's say that you wanted to there was an issue and you need to file a claim. We link to a claims portal specifically for Miva customers. So if you click this link, it'll take you to a Miva branded claims portal, and this is where you would go to start a claim if a customer had an issue that was insured by InsureShield. So really easy, everything's done all from that single interface. And then since you are collecting the premiums from the customer, Miva will then collect it from you at the end of the month. So we're tracking all this stuff behind the scenes, and for merchants on the call, the $3 or whatever the premiums that you collected from the customer as part of the order, right? Here's the premium for this particular order. We're tracking all of that, and then once a month at the end of the month, Miva will bill you as part of your regular my.miva account. You'll get a bill for InsureShield that will collect all the premiums from you. So really simple, really easy to use. For existing merchants, the only other setup that I haven't shown here is that there's a one line of template changes that you need to do. And I'll show it to you real quickly, but we'll do it for you. Just you can email anyone at Miva support team or myself. So this gets installed as part of the when you install the module. There's just the content section that's controlling the how that is displayed during checkout, and then you just add that to add that one line to the page where you want it to show up. So really simple. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how easy this is to install, how easy this is to use. And then let me pass it over to Mike to talk about the benefits of InsureShield.
Yeah, thanks, Brennan. Appreciate your patience. This is the first time I attempted to log on as a presenter since UPS Capital moved from to Teams. So very interesting, but we'll get there. So let me pull up my presentation. All right, give me a second here. Where is my, all right, I'm having trouble. Give me one. Can't find, all right, here we go.
Yeah, we can see the deck.
Yeah.
Well,
All
your
right,
speaker.
if this is kind of looks good.
Perfect, perfect.
All right, so I appreciate it. My name is Mike Sarnicki, based out of Virginia. Very excited about this partnership, and hopefully, I know you guys have a lot of things going on, and hopefully, you'll see some benefit to this. The ability to offer, protection in the checkout cart, and really enhance the customer experience to your customers. And it would not only benefit them, also the end consumer. We've got a good balance of Miva merchants, and we have some UPS salespeople on here. So feel free to put that, and we'll monitor them. And then afterwards, we'll have a question and answer time, and we'll be so. Let's get into it. So this is really this one slide. It's a busy slide, but it really comes to explain why we're offering protection to your customers, or the ability to. So care liability is what the majority of people are using to attempt to protect their shipments. And so what I want to do is take a minute, talk about the difference between care liability. That is what the carrier offers or has to offer, and then what true insurance, the differentiator that true insurance is. So I'm just going to call out a couple things at the top, and I'm sure everyone that has had to file a claim before has. So shipments through carrier liability, the claims process is very lengthy. Multiple follow-ups to get a claim approved, especially the higher the value, the more approvals it has to go through, and more requirements that you'll get asked. Extensive paperwork. They require a lot of stuff. Sometimes police affidavits. They'll go to the customer and make them sign stuff stating that they didn't receive it for like Porch piracy shipments. And then a lot of times claims aren't paid in full. They'll reduce the claim payment. And then at the bottom, SMB, small and medium-sized businesses, spend an average 72 minutes processing a single claim. And then a lot of times, merchants will just, whether they have insurance or not, whether the claim gets approved or not, they are going to, send a replacement or refund the money just so they don't get, nixed with comments or, a negative review. That's some of the things that I'm sure you're dealing with today. And so that's the main reason that they're offering shipping protection in the checkout cart. Here we go. So just a couple bullet items here. So we talked about payments. A lot of payments do not get approved. So with this program, over 95%, even higher than that, get approved. They get approved very quickly. So a lot of times, 2 to 5 days of everything we need, the claim is approved and paid. And so then your customer's happy, the merchant's happy, and it's a great reason for them to come back. And because even though it's a bad experience, if you can make it a positive experience, then that's what they're looking for. Better coverage. So with carrier liability, they only will pay the replacement cost. So if you sold something for $100 and your cost was 50, when you file the claim, they're going to pay the 50 and not the 100. With you insured for the 100, you get reimbursed for the 100 plus the shipping. The claims process is very quick, and I've got a slide that will take you through the 3 or 4 steps of claim with us. And then fully staffed operational support. So whether the merchant is filing or the end consumer is filing the claim, you can, first of all, you can file the claim, 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever fits your schedule. And then if you need to speak with someone, you have the ability to email them right from after the claim is submitted. You'll have a link to connect with the claims adjuster if you had questions or they needed more information, or you could pick up the phone and call them. So we have different options in order to connect with if you have questions about a pending claim. Okay. And so this slide, what I want to talk about for Miva merchants, shipping directly impacts revenue. And how does that? By reducing delivery risk at checkout, InsureShield gives shoppers that complete higher value purchases, which lifts conversion and supports higher average order values. Also, the end consumer is paying for the insurance. So the shipment cost to the merchant, and then what you're doing there is you're eliminating for each that's insured, you're eliminating the common profit drain, which is whether you reship it at no cost, whether you have to refund it and then they don't order it, or you're only getting reimbursed for the cost of the shipment and you lose the sale. So this will definitely help the merchant out from a impacting revenue. And at the same time, a fast, full value claims experience reinforces the brand credibility, turning a common pain point of friction into trust building moment that drives repeat business. And Brennan also went into like how easy it is to set up. It's embedded directly into the checkout. Once you turn it on, it's offered to all your customers, allows the customer to cover themselves for porch piracy, loss in transit, theft, damage, and then it ability to pick and choose the ones that they want to insure. So if they're if they feel comfortable with our value shipment and they want to pay for the insurance on that, they have the ability to uncheck and opt out of the insurance at any given time. And then, like I said, the good thing about this is it's fully managed claims and payout by UPS Capital. So this is a multi-carrier, multimodal program. So if you're using, multiple carriers for your shipments, it's offered to all of them, and no matter who you're using, or if you're using, some of your product might have to go out by LTL, you can use this program to protect both small package and LTL shipments. And then at the bottom, I just listed a few that we see a really high take rate, direct to consumer. I think we have some food and beverage merchants, we have some automotive merchants, electronics, and then of course fashions. We see definitely a high take rate of the offering. And,
Mike, that's great.
and so,
If I can just jump in really quick. Someone had
yep,
mentioned
yep,
a question in here asking if they ship with FedEx, if this can be used for FedEx. So you just answered that, but multi-carrier, it's agnostic.
yeah, yeah. Post office, DHL, yeah, UPS. If you use like a last mile carrier, that would be covered. And like I said, all the LTL companies. So we'll go over the policy and this, what it covers, in a slide from now. So the claims process. So this is really how it's going to benefit whether, as the merchant, some merchants might want to take control of this and manage it and file the claim on behalf of your customer. You might want to push it off to the end consumer since they're buying the insurance, provide them with the link. It doesn't matter. This site is, agnostic to whether it's the merchant filing or the end consumer filing. So if you look within the computer screen here, how easy it is. So first of all, on the first screen, you're going to enter the shipment detail, what happened to it, sender information, tracking number, the basic information that you're going to put on any claim. Second one, tell us what happened. Was it lost? Was it damaged? Porch piracy, is it missing? And then just give us the description of the merchandise and the value. And then, who do you want to get paid? You want to get paid, if you're the merchant, you might want it, deposit in your account, and then you'll make the customer whole. The end consumer might want it directly deposit in their account. So you have the option there. Like summarize. Here's a summary of what the claim looks like. Gives you a last chance to submit it, and then once you submit it, you get a claim number immediately, and then you'll get an email, and then you can go back into that claim at a later date. So let's say a day or two, and you want an update, you can go in there and you can email the claims adjuster directly. So I mentioned that before. On average, claims get paid very quickly as long as we have everything we need. So anywhere we say 5 days, but a lot of claims get paid 1 or 2 if we have everything we need. And any carrier that you put or they put the insurance on goes to this website. So it's right now, if you're using 2 or 3 carriers, you've got 2 or 3 different claims processes, different requirements. This same requirement, regardless of the carrier or the mode. And like I said, you can submit the claims, at your leisure. All right, so this is the policy we put together for this program. We talked about multi-carrier coverage, so that's good. Theft protection, porch piracy. I think there's that term by now, but it's, let's say FedEx leaves it on the porch, didn't receive it. In any other scenario, the through carrying would be denied. We will still honor that claim. So that's a big thing. Concealed damage. This is really big on the LTL side. It does happen on the small package side, but let's say something gets delivered to your location, you don't open it for a week or 2 weeks, and then when you finally open it, you discover damage. That's called concealed damage. A lot of companies, if they offer it, it's like 3 days. Or like with LTL, if you sign the bill of lading as it's a clean delivery, they would claim. So you have up to 90 days to submit a concealed damage coverage claim. Now, on deliveries, especially if you're shipping something and let's say you have adult sale because it's high value and you don't want it left at the door. We make 3 delivery attempts and then it's still insured on its way back. As long as it gets refused and it's got the same tracking number, you're still covered for the same amount as it was going there. If it gets, because something could make it there fine and it gets damaged or stolen on the way back. So that's a big plus with this. You know, I know every merchant on here has competitors, and in the day, you want to differentiate yourself. And a great claims experience is definitely one way to do that. So definitely would help you, promote this and really, speak to it. No wasted coverage, like I mentioned earlier. Any customer can pick or choose if they want the insurance on it. They might not want it for something lower value. They might want it for something higher. They don't have to do it on every one. They don't have to do it on any. It's up to them. So they have the flexibility. Like I said, efficient claims, we talked about that. Full reimbursement value. So like I said, you don't lose the sale, even though there's claims. So you'll get paid either the end consumer or the merchant. You get paid the full invoice value plus the shipping when you file a claim. Okay. And this is the last slide, policy summary. So this is kind of the limits of liability, the coverage. So like I said, we cover, all the small package express carriers, the USPS and, last mile companies, and then LTL. So we made it very easy. So it's $1 per 100 rate. Just to compare, carrier liability with the express carriers is around $1.70, so it's over 40% better value with better coverage than you're paying today. They have a $3 minimum, which is $5.10. So that means anything that you insure 0 and 300 would get hit with that $5.10 minimum. It would only be $3. And then there's no deductible, and there's no deductible for the express carrier, small package, UPS, FedEx, DHL, post office, no deductible. And then on the LTL side, there is a $10 deductible. I'm sorry, 10% deductible, and that's just less from what the claim payment gets sent to you. And then finally, from a limited liability, $50,000 for all modes and all carriers. So I think would comprehensive, could cover the majority of the shipments you have. I think that is it. So yeah, sorry we had to do it a little back. I did want to see if anyone has any questions I can answer regarding the program or really anything on how it's set up. I'll open the floor to any questions we have. I don't know. Did you cover
Yeah.
this, Anna? Okay, good.
Yeah, well, Brennan will still cover that one, but since we do have a question that came in regarding the final mile. So the customer scenario is if a customer uses UPS Ground Saver and it goes final mile through USPS and arrives damaged or gets lost, stolen, the customer will be fully refunded for the product shipped as well as the shipping, even though it was delivered by USPS, which I think you
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
correct.
That's true. That's a great question because a lot of times outside of this program, it's like who handed it off? Like when did it get handed off? Should it file the claim post office? You should go through post office. That's the great thing about this program is you got to submit it, and whether again during the handoff at the post office from the carrier, it doesn't matter. Works as fast as if it was within the carrier the whole way. Great question.
Awesome. Brennan, do you want to cover this slide and talk a little bit more about what shoppers see?
Yeah, so this is another example. This is a live site that actually turned on InsureShield last week, I want to say. So they've been live for about a week. I think both Angela and Doug are both on the webinar here. But you can kind of see the customer experience, right? This is another version of what I showed. But what's very um, what's been great to see is that the take rate, the percent of customers that are actually choosing to insure with InsureShield, last time I looked about 48%. So it's a really big uptake. We're getting a lot of adoption. So just some nice positive results, that we're seeing early on from a real life customer.
That's exactly a great lead in. We just got a question about a percentage of shoppers that tend to choose the insurance. So on this particular example, they've seen about half of customers elect
Yeah,
to
it's
do it.
It's about half, and you will get a higher percent if you default it on, right? That's just kind of the way that works. But yeah, so about half customers are choosing InsureShield.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to add to that, Mike, that you're seeing from adoption?
Yeah, definitely. That's when you have an opt-out model where the customer actually unchecks it, it's automatically included with the the estimate amount. Then they can make the decision. Yeah, we definitely see a anywhere from 40 to 50% adoption rate.
Great question that came in. Um, Great. We have some other ones too. Let me go ahead and look at those. Um, and thank you, Mike and Brennan, for going through all of that. That was fantastic. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to go ahead and drop them in Q&A. Otherwise, so another one is for Miva merchants who are already dealing with lost or damaged packages, how is this different than just filing a carrier claim?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what I would say to that is, I mentioned it earlier, so you're probably dealing with multiple claim sites, multiple claim requirements, and multiple expenses. So you're going to have, like I said, you're going to have one place to submit all your insured claims. So that will be a benefit. There's less requirements when filing a claim. Really, all we require is proof of value for a lost shipment, so the invoice. If it's a damaged package, we do ask for photos because we want to, see the damage. And so that's really it. Like no police reports, those kind of things. So a lot less requirements, higher approval, faster claim payout. Another thing I'll just say is, this will allow a merchant, to focus more on revenue generating versus, following up on claims and spending a lot of time like that I'd mentioned, like over an hour for each claim. And that's probably collective of filing it, following up, needing more information. So it really frees your time up. I know, everyone's busy, and if you could free up, an hour or two a week would or more could be substantial to your business. So I think that's why it's a little bit different than kind of going through the process they're doing today through care liability.
Yeah, I imagine that folks that have a lot of refunds, replacements, dealing with support tickets, this would help them a lot in that time savings.
Yeah, one thing you could do too is, as a merchant, you can just take, how many claims you're getting a week, and then, how many of you, replacing, versus the claims, getting approved and, taking about what a loss could be, removed, um, then see if it's probably going to be a compelling number to make sense to move forward with offering this. Like I said, no cost to offer it. If they don't want it, they don't use it, they uncheck it, they opt out and move on. Very frictionless in the checkout cart. And yeah, I think it's something that you should definitely consider if you haven't already.
Wonderful. And if you guys, if we have existing Miva merchants on here and you want to get started, you have a contact for Brennan on the screen. Or if you just have questions about enabling it, feel free to reach out to Brennan. If you're not on Miva yet, you want to learn more, if you're a UPS rep looking to bring this to accounts, feel free to reach us at ups_sales@miva.com and we'll get you to the right person. I don't see any other questions that came in, so we can go ahead and wrap this up with the thank you slide. And just huge thank you again, Mike and Brennan. This was a great session. Hope everybody walked away with something useful. Again, the webinar has been recorded and we'll send this out to you. So if you want to rewatch any section or share it with a colleague, keep an eye on that we'll send that out momentarily. And if you didn't get your question answered today, again, feel free to reach out to us. Really appreciate everybody's time today. And thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day.